Hi everybody, this is Albert and welcome to my kitchen. Those of you who know me know that I'm obsessed with two items. Number one being chicken rice and number two being milk tea. Just a little bit of background. There's this milk tea place when I lived in Taiwan by my house that served pretty much the best milk tea on the face of the earth, and my wife and I would have basically a cup or two every single morning for 5 years. And so I've been obsessed with reproducing the same kind of milk tea. And it was a Burmese milk tea, but today I'm going to teach Hong Kong style milk tea, and I'll get into nuances of the slight differences between them. But basically, if you have what they call a silk sock in Hong Kong, that's great. You can use one of those. But for me and for most Americans, we're going to go ahead and go with the coffee percolator. Yes, coffee percolator. I did not stutter, to make milk tea with. This is one I have. I think it's what brand is this? It's a Farberware. And if you haven't seen a percolator before, because you're not 80 years old, this goes in there. And just to show you the inner workings of percolator, there's a hole here in the base. It sits inside the tea kettle, basically, in the kettle. That way, as water leaks in and as it boils, it'll go up the stem, and then the hot liquid will come through, and you put well, technically your coffee grinds, but in this case we'll be putting our tea leaves in the compartment, and it will just keep percolating and washing it through. And so that's kind of how it works as a percolator. So let's get to the milk tea portions. Now, I've tried for about almost 10 years to make milk tea, and I failed miserably. And so I'm talking a guy who's got some 300 plus kettles of milk tea under his belt before actually succeeding. And so I know a thing or two about failing at milk tea. So first thing I want to talk about, a lot of you, maybe I'll make a short version of it, just making the milk tea, but I want to go through the background. The thing about the milk tea is, and I'll have to thank Jay, I'm sure he'll deny it, but I couldn't figure out the secret to making the milk tea until I went to Hong Kong last month, and then I discovered what the secret was. So I was making the milk tea in basically a pot, and the problem is, I'll pour a little bit of tea leaf in my hand. The problem is when you do, there's a lot of water running around the tea leaves, basically. And so what happens is you have over-extraction, and with over-extraction you have bitter tannins. And that's the part I couldn't get over, is the fact that my tea was really, really bitter, and I don't know why. I could decrease the amount of tea, I could increase the amount of tea leaves, and it didn't matter what I did. Basically, it was bitter all the time. And so what I found was when I went to Hong Kong, I saw them with little silk socks making milk tea, was the fact that don't think of milk tea like tea. Okay, think of milk tea like espresso. Okay, so if tea was coffee, then milk tea would be espresso, basically. And so what you want to have happen is basically you want the tea to be somewhat compressed. You want very little liquid running through them, so you're drawing out the flavor, but you're not overly extracting from the tea so that you're drawing out the bitterness. Now, part two is about the ratios. Basically, and this is my wife's expensive Dean and DeLuca 2 tablespoon coffee spoon. I don't know how much it is, I'm scared to ask. But basically, your average ratio for milk tea is 2 tablespoons of milk tea, of tea leaves, or tea fannings actually, correction, tea fannings per cup of water. And so I usually, for this percolator, I use 4 cups of water. And but the thing is, that is for tea fannings. If you know what tea fannings is, the other name for tea fannings is tea dust. And so it's 2 tablespoons of tea dust for every cup of water is the correct ratio. That being said, though, if I'm using something like whole tea leaves or loose leaves like this is, then I'm going to go ahead and use 10 tablespoons to 4 cups of water. And the reason why we're doing that is because the tea leaves don't have as much surface area, and so you would need a little bit more tea leaves than than tea fannings. And so you go ahead and scoop, I won't do it because I won't be making milk tea, but you go ahead and scoop out and measure out 8 tablespoons, I'm sorry, I keep saying teaspoons, tablespoons if you're using fannings, or 10 if you're using leaves. Now, for Hong Kong milk tea, basically, we're going to go with Ceylon. And every single milk tea house has their own blend, but basically it's a blend of Ceylon of some type. The other the other multiple types of tea types that you can use is Assam and also English breakfast, which we sometimes usually mix into ours when we drink here. Now, for Burmese tea, then you're going to go with Burmese tea leaves, or Burmese tea fannings, because they're really not leaves. And that would make the tea Burmese instead of Hong Kong style. So basically what you would do is measure out and scoop out your tea, dump it in here in your little coffee chamber, or in this case tea chamber, close it up. This would sit in here. And then you want to go ahead and use 4 cups of, for me here, 4 cups of hot water. And you want to go ahead and pour the hot water into the little tea vessel here. And the reason why you would do that is the same reason why if you're making Vietnamese coffee, you want to wet the coffee grounds first. That way the water goes in and the leaves, in this case, puff up. And then when you start percolating, then they're basically much easier to extract flavors from. So that's the first thing you want to do. So we're going to go ahead, well, I'm going to remove this, but you would put this in, pour your water over it, throw your percolator onto the fire, have it on high until it starts percolating, then turn it down to low. And when you do, set your timer to 15 minutes, and when it beeps, you're ready to go. Your tea is ready. Now, as far as Hong Kong style milk tea, first off, your teacup, you usually want to put some hot water in it to warm up the mug, so you don't put hot tea into a cold cup, because that draws the heat away from your cup. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I just heated that. I prefer to use brown sugar cubes. See, brown sugar cubes here. Or if you want to, you can go ahead and use cane sugar. I prefer all that over regular white sugar, just because it caramelizes a little bit, gives it a little bit more of a kick, and thickens the tea a little bit. But hey, if you're a traditionalist and you think you want to go with white sugar, you're fine. I usually put 2, but see, these are kind of broken, so I'll put 3 in. For regular teaspoons, like these small ones, I put about 2 teaspoons in. Now, the other item for your milk tea is, of course, the milk, and I don't actually mean milk. What we mean when we say milk tea, Hong Kong style, is evaporated milk. This is from Carnation. You can, if you are hardcore Hong Kongese, they will say there are specific brands, the black and white cow one that they think is much better. But I got my cubes, and I got, what we'll be doing is filling, I know it sounds like a lot, I swear it sounds like a lot, but 1/3 of a cup is how much evaporated milk we're gonna put in. And so yeah, I know I had some left in our cord. Stir, stir, stir. And that is your milk tea. That's it. So the key points are 8 tablespoons to 4 cups fannings to water, or 10 tablespoons to 4 cups of water. Put in the percolator. Put your tea leaves in here. 1/3 cup of evaporated milk, preferably room temperature, not cold. 2 teaspoons of sugar, or 2 cubes. Mix, stir, and drink. And that's it. Give it a try and let me know. Thank you.